Hello. Hello. How is everybody? You will see I've put a couple of links already into the chat. So one of them is to the Facebook Live event next week, which please come and join me. It should be fun. It will be at this time, but a day earlier. So for me, that will be Monday at 10 o'clock. For people watching in the US, I believe it will be 5 p.m. on Sunday, August the 31st, if you're in Pacific, and Eastern at 8 p.m. Let me just check that, I think. I think that would probably be a good idea, wouldn't it? Yeah, Eastern is 8 p.m. on Sunday, August the 31st, and Pacific is 5 p.m. If you are a night owl and you live in Europe, Central European time, it will be 2 a.m. And I don't blame you if you don't want to come. And I believe in the UK it will be 1 a.m. So a bit early for me. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be getting up that early unless you're super excited. Okay, so there is that, but that link is in there. My link to my website is also in the chat as well for anybody that wants to check out the website. There's podcast episodes, there's blogs, so that will help you with your dog. But also there's a free PDF there on the homepage where you can, which you can download, and it just examines, does my dog have separation anxiety or not? Because not all behaviors that look like separation anxiety are separation anxiety. So this may help to clarify things for you. And it's also about the context of a certain behavior, which I think is important because, again, what we see may not necessarily be separation anxiety. It could be something else. So if you're not sure, have a look at that PDF. So you just download it from there, or sign up for it and download it. So there's that. Now, what else have I got on my little list? If you have a question, hi Debbie, let me know, and I will type it in the chat and I'll get to it. But before I do that, I want to talk about a couple of things. So when you come into this group, you should be answering questions. I know not everybody does, but you should be answering. There's 3 questions. And one of the questions is, what does my dog struggle with, or what does your dog struggle with? And so many people say freedom, or I struggle with freedom, as in not having any, because they feel tied to the house, because they feel like they can't leave their dog, or they have to find cover for the dog. And if they just want to pop out, Canada, woohoo! I'm not going to even try and pronounce that. Saskatchewan. I know how to pronounce it. Saskatchewan. Anyway, I know it's not right. Anyway, freedom. Yeah. So I know a lot of people struggle with that, not having, even if you just want to pop to the shops for 5 minutes and you're like, oh, there's nobody else home. What am I going to do? Do I take the dog with me? Oh, it's too hot. There's so many things to consider. So my goal is to give you your lives back, and so to give you your freedom back, hopefully. But yes, I hear you, and I would say when people answer that question in the group, that would be probably the main thing that they talk or they mention. Somebody else this week or yesterday actually said it will mean it. So the other question is, what would it mean for you if you could resolve this? And this person says, it will mean the world to me. I know that stress influences not only his mental health, her dog's mental health, but his physical health as well. And I would do everything to help him. And how lovely is that? And I mentioned this one in particular because we are also talking about physical health. Yes, it's mental health. They're suffering from anxiety or stress or what have you. However, long-term stress, as we know, leads to health issues of the physical nature. So if we are suffering from chronic stress, or our dogs are suffering from chronic stress, down the track, it may not be evident straight away, but down the track there can be health complications. So, and also even maybe not down the track, if you think stress can lead to gastric issues, as an example. So maybe that's something to consider when we're looking at our dog, saying, do I need to fix this or not? Or, it's not that bad, or maybe I can just leave them for an hour and everything will be all right. We also have to look at the physical health. So just keep that in the back of your mind. I think it's worthwhile mentioning. Now, somebody else wrote this, and I wanted to tell you guys. She she's obviously in South Africa, and I've never ever seen this. And the reason I'm laughing is because she says we have baboons living around us. Who has baboons living around them? So I don't know where you live, but you must be, I guess, fairly rural. Um, Anyway, so she says we have baboons living around us, and we have to lock the dogs inside every time we go out. Well, yes, I hear you. I wouldn't leave my dogs out. We have poisonous snakes, which you would as well, I imagine. I don't leave my dogs outside when I'm not out there. I just am not comfortable with it. There are definitely snakes here. In fact, one day I was here in my office and one of my dogs was barking, and it was the weirdest sound. It was a sound that I've never heard from her. So, you get the alert bark and you get the um, those sort of normal everyday barks that you hear, or you took one of the dogs out of the van, but I'm still in here, let me out, that sort of bark. But this was a very different bark. And I went into the bedroom where she was, and she was standing on the bed looking at a snake outside the window. I'm so glad that's why I don't leave them out there, because we get some very deadly snakes. That one wasn't deadly, but I mean, potential to be. So, yes, don't do that. Anyway, back to the baboons. They lock their dogs inside when they go out, which is a good idea. She says sometimes we get pet sitters, but this gets rather pricey. Yes, it does. My bull terrier is 8 years old and female, and she chews her blankets and bedding when we go out. So it sounds like she's self-soothing. So maybe, I mean, I don't know how severe the actual separation behavior is, but it does sound like she might be trying to comfort herself. So if it's mild, you might be able to, I mean, I don't know how long you have to go out for. If you can't get a pet sitter, you may be looking to some sort of calming CBD oil or some sort of calming supplement for her. Obviously, if it's more than just chewing the bedding, then I would be looking at doing some training. If it's chewing the bedding and that is all, I would suggest it's not too severe, except that things like that can become compulsive. So you have to watch that. But maybe try to find something. Look, you're not here, obviously. I don't know. I don't have the full facts. I'm just looking at exactly what you've written here. But yes, I would be maybe looking at so at least tackling it with some sort of calming supplement. I'd probably go down the CBD route, but there are plenty of other options out there. Maybe talk to your vets, not necessarily for prescription medication, but there are over-the-counter medications that they could possibly get you. Again, just so we're very, very clear, if if it's severe, then you've got to do some training around it. And the last thing she says is, yeah, so what would it mean to you is the question, to get over your dog's separation, to get your dog over separation anxiety. She says peace of mind, and lots of people say that, and also not having to worry that she might ingest something which might cause a blockage. Yes, indeed. And if you're just going out for a short time, you could look at a Kong filled with something frozen that would last you for that time. The issue, of course, is when you're going out for longer periods, you're not going to be able to find something to keep the dog occupied that whole time. I don't use food in my training for a variety of reasons. I've mentioned them in the past, so I'm not going to go into them again, not right now anyway. But yeah, so if that is an option, maybe have a look at that as well. But that could be if you're only going out for a short period of time. But if you're going out for longer, there's no, unless you want a really fat dog, what are you going to give the dog that's going to last long enough? Okay, so I do have a question. Again, if anyone's got any questions, please write them in the chat while I'm addressing this question from Joanne. So she has rescued a Cavalier King Charles, who's only a baby. He's 14 months. He's a teenager. And she's only had him 4 months. So he's in the space of 4 months she's had him, and he was 10 months when she rescued him. He came from a puppy mill and surrendered to Cavalier Rescue, which is where she got him. He was at the rescue for 4 months before she got him. So he was in the puppy mill for 6 months, 4 months at the rescue, 4 months with the new home with Joanne. Joanne says she works from home and don't really go out much except for grocery shopping. I'm a little bit the same, to be honest, unless I'm taking the dogs out. I'm a bit of a homebody. When I do leave to go anywhere, my husband is usually home with him. Okay, but he still gets riled up when I leave. I know this breed tends to be very clingy, but how can I get him used to me leaving or leaving him home alone? I do have a camera and he is crate trained, and I have left him for short times in the crate, and he is a little fidgety at first, but he does calm down after a bit. I worry about him and I always want to get home to him. Honestly, I think a lot of dog guardians also have separation anxiety from their dogs. I don't like leaving my dogs. I feel like I've got to get home to them. I've got to get back to them. And I can't imagine going away and putting them in kennels. Can't remember the last time I had a holiday without a dog. Yes, but it's good that you've got cameras. Crate training, I don't use crates in general for training, unless the dog it's that dog's preference, and that depends on the dog. Most dogs prefer more room, but if you feel like he's calming down there more in the crate, that may be an option. It really does depend on the dog in front of you. I worry about him and I always want to get home to him. I'm afraid I'm living my life around him. I would suggest, Joanne, that everybody watching this is probably feeling exactly like you are. How do I get us both comfortable with leaving? I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing at you're struggling with leaving him because you love him so much, and you probably are suffering from separation anxiety about leaving him. And that's completely understandable. Also, how do you trust anyone to watch your dog? Oh, we'll get into that last bit in a minute because I think it's a very excellent question. Firstly, with your husband. So, what is your dog called? Oh, it doesn't say. Okay, with your little boy. He's a teenager. So we've got to remember that. He's a teenager. And they've got lots of energy often, and they don't know where to put it. And I wonder whether a little bit of this is FOMO, frustration at you leaving and he's not coming, especially because you do work from home. There could be an element of that. So maybe ask yourself that question, whether that's a possibility. So when we talk about separation-related behavior or separation-related distress, most people use the term separation anxiety. However, it's not always anxiety, especially with teenage dogs. Sometimes it's more based in frustration / FOMO, fear of missing out. And that's why the proper term is separation-related behavior or separation-related distress. So just keep that in the back of your mind and maybe wonder about that. Being a teenager, young dog, they often show behaviors like that. The second bit is coming from a puppy mill. We have to ask the question about the type of breeding that was done. A lot of puppy mill dogs already come out with anxiety because of the conditions they were brought up in, the stress that the mum suffered during the pregnancy, all those sort of things, maybe a poor diet, could be any number of things. So then we have to say, does this dog already come with anxiety? If he's got generalized anxiety, we need to maybe examine that. It could be worth going to a vet and having a conversation. If you don't feel he has got generalized anxiety and it's just around you leaving, that's sort of a little bit different to just too generalized anxiety. A dog with generalized anxiety is scared of the world, basically. That's the easy way of looking at it. Whereas a dog that's just upset about you leaving them only shows those behaviors when they are alone, or from the sounds of it, when your husband is still with him. So that leads me on to the next thing, is what relationship does your husband have with your boy? Can we build on that? So at least when your husband's there, your dog feels more comfortable, because it sounds like he would rather be with you than hubby. maybe an element of hyperattachment, which means the dog is more attached to you than hubby, and in which case we need to help the dog be more bonded with more people. So if we can work on that relationship with hubby, then that's going to be really useful. And that might be hubby feeding, training, playing, walking, etc., etc. And of course, that's going to depend on your husband's capacity to do so as well. So that would be that step. And then, of course, you could do the training. Feel free to jump on my website, nessjones.com. It's in the links in the underneath this video. And have a look at the podcast episodes, have a look at the blogs. Might give you a bit of an overview of what you're dealing with. And of course, you can buy the book. So yeah, buy this book. Come to my launch next week. I mentioned it at the beginning of the video. It will be the same time as this, but a day earlier. And this will help you. But I think building the bond for your dog is important, and then doing some training around being by themselves. As I said, I don't use crates in training in general unless that is that dog's preferred place to be when they're alone. If they feel safer in there, I don't know, because you maybe aren't here to ask the question. It does sound like he calms down, so that is positive. He says a little fidgety at first, but he does calm down. So that does sound like a positive. So without being able to ask you some more questions around that, it's hard for me to respond to that part of the puzzle. But I would be doing some training around it. So this book would help you do that. And I'm not trying to make you buy the book. I'm actually, it's hard for me to delve into all the training pieces here, but this book will help you with that. It will help you with the door desensitization, getting your dog not being so invested in your exit point. It will help you do the steps to be able to leave your dog. Kathy is here. Hi, Kathy. She's been through the program with me, so she was in my membership program. And Rizzo, beautiful Rizzo, is really good to leave by himself now, so that's amazing. He's gone from, I forget what time you started on, Kathy, but it was low. And now he's fine to be by himself. And look, Kathy's got the same issue as you. She works from home, and she's doesn't have much reason to go out apart from to the shops and things, but she still needs to be able to go out. She still needs to have her life. And that's the problem. Now, to answer your next question, I think this is a really good question. So how do you trust anyone to watch your dog while you're away on a trip or something? I have heard stories of bad things happening to the dog, and I worry about that too. He is my world. And thank you for rescuing him, Joanne. That's beautiful. So how do you trust someone to watch your dog? Oh, sorry, Kathy said she started at 20 minutes and she's now on 4 hours. Yeah. How do you trust someone to watch your dog? Well, first of all, I would definitely go to somebody with pet insurance. I mean, there's plenty of places you can look. Look at the reviews, see if there's some positive reviews, or if there's any negative ones, and just look at the people doing the reviewing and make sure they are actually real people, not fake people or friends of the person. Just make sure they're authentic. Maybe these people will allow you to speak to one of their clients. Maybe it's a possibility. I understand your concern. I think if you are going away on a trip, it's a better option. Hi, Sarah. It's a better option for you to get a pet sitter in rather than putting them in kennels. I think that's quite harsh. But yes, just do some investigating and look. I get it. He is your world. And for me, I would feel the same. Like, can I trust this person? So I hear you. I really, really do hear you. Can you trust the person that you're leaving your most precious thing in the world with? But there are plenty of really good pet sitters out there. So the other thing you might consider is asking in Facebook groups, if you're part of Facebook communities in your area. So I'm part of gosh, lots. There's about 5 different Facebook community groups in my area that I'm a part of, and they're great if you want to hire somebody because they've employed people in the area. So like, let's just say you want to hire an electrician. Oh no, actually I had to get something in my shower fixed the other day. And you just get on there, you say, hey, I'm looking for someone to, do something in my shower and help me with this. And can you offer me some recommendations? And I got about 10 recommendations. So I would try that too. And that might help put your mind at ease. And as I said, if you can speak to one of their clients, even better. But I think also when you're introducing your dog to them, you don't want to do, okay, come, you're here now, I'm off. I would do a couple of meet and greets with your dog first. Yeah, so Sarah says pet sitting is a great option. I know people that have done it or perform these tasks. Yeah, I know a lady here in Australia that does it as well. And she gets to stay in some amazing homes. But yeah, she goes around and house sits and pet sits at the same time. So Joanne, I hope that answered your question. And that's helpful. Unless there's anyone got any questions that they would like to have answered, to start typing. But before we go, I thought it might be good to read the back of this book for you guys. I'm going to put my glasses on though, because they make me look intelligent. No, I literally can't see. Okay, so this might help people decide whether they want to buy it. Again, I'm going to put it in the chat again. The link to the online book launch next week, just so people can find it easier. Please come and join me, help me celebrate. There will be discounts on the book, so you will definitely want to be there for that. But this is what the book is all about. Let me read this to you. Okay, break free from the guilt and worry of leaving your dog alone. Does your dog struggle when you walk out the door? Do you ever feel weighed down by worry about what's happening while you're while you're away? Separation anxiety affects more than just your dog. It impacts your freedom, peace of mind, and daily life. But there is hope. If you dread leaving the house because you're worried about how your dog will cope, you're not alone. Many caregivers feel guilt and frustration, trapped by the constant worry over what might be happening at home while they're away. This book offers a compassionate, step-by-step approach to help your dog feel calm and secure when home alone, while giving you the freedom to leave without guilt or fear. With empathy and science-backed strategies, you'll learn how to support your dog's emotional recovery and build their confidence and independence. What you'll learn: the Alone Method, a beginner-friendly roadmap to help your dog feel safe every time you leave. Common myths about separation anxiety and why outdated advice often fails. How to read your dog's body language and recognize subtle signs of anxiety. That's very important. Real-life case studies that show how different approaches suit different dogs, and a holistic perspective on treatments, including medication and natural remedies. So there's that. So if that is of interest to anyone, join me for the live book launch. As I said, there will be discounts and giveaways. And I look forward to seeing you there. But since there's nobody else here online, I shall love you and leave you. And yes, as I said, the times will be, actually, I'm going to put the times in here for the online book launch. Okay. There you go. So anybody wants to come, please join me. Looking forward to it. All right. Okay, guys, unless there's anything else, there doesn't appear to be, I shall get going and hopefully we shall see you next week. All righty, take care, guys. Now I always say this, I've got to figure out how to turn this thing off. Oh my God.